I've been sitting here for the last hour trying to get myself into talking about this cold case from Toronto. And it's of a 5-year-old girl that was unalived in 1975. And my story kind of relates to her in the sense that she was sent back to Dominica, where her mother was originally from, to live with her grandmother. And I grew up with my grandmother before I was reunited with my mother. And her case has been unsolved for 48 years. If you go on the Toronto Police cold case website, her face, her cute little face, is still there, frozen in memory at 5 years old. So let's talk about it. So, as I said, it's been 48 years, but I've seen cold cases that have been solved. So, hopefully, something might arise. We'll see. On May 15th of 1975, Tracy Ann Bruney was dropped off at her school. She attended Sinclair Catholic School. This was in the Dufferin and Sinclair area at 124 Northcliffe Avenue or Northcliffe Boulevard. And she was dropped off at about 8:55 a.m. and that's the normal routine. Her mom would drop her off. The bell rang at 9 a.m. But by the time all the students got into class, Tracy's Tracy Ann, I keep saying Tracy Ann's teacher realized that she wasn't there. But the same reporting things that we have in place now, like where the parents would be alerted like within 5 minutes of the teachers taking attendance if someone's not there, that was not in place back in 1975. So it wasn't until lunchtime where Tracy would usually go home, because back then as well there used to be morning kindergarten and afternoon kindergarten. So since Tracy was a part of the morning kindergarten class, she would get off at around 12, around lunchtime, and then she would walk home. And they didn't live that far from the neighborhood, from the school. So when Tracy Ann's mom realized that she didn't come back home, she figured, okay, maybe she got lost along the way, or maybe she's caught up. She's a 5-year-old girl, maybe she's playing with her friends or something. So she walked back to the school to get her, and that's when she was told that Tracy Ann wasn't in class that day. So she began looking around the neighborhood because they had just moved there from Rexdale, a different area. So she began looking around the neighborhood to see if she could find her. Maybe she turned on the wrong street or something. She couldn't. And at around 1 p.m., Tracy Ann's body was found in a creek in a park called Marie Curtis Park, which is located near Lakeshore Boulevard West and 42nd Street in Etobicoke. Police were called. They started their investigation. An autopsy determined that Tracy Ann died of drowning. But before she drowned, she was brutally beaten. So this park was located 15 kilometers away from where her mom dropped her from her school. So how did she get there? And like I said, she was beaten and then she was just thrown in the creek and she passed away. So could she have survived her injuries if she wasn't face down in the water? Who knows? And like I said, the 13-year-old found her. And back then, I don't think cell phones were invented back then, or at least they weren't prevalent. So maybe not everybody would have had one. So the 13-year-old boy, Mark Nori, he ran home and he got his mom to call 911. Like I said, police came, they started to do their investigation, but that's where it ended. There has been no other tips to try to identify the perpetrator of this crime. About a week later, or a few days after Tracy Ann's body was found, her purse was found in the yard of a house on Northcliffe Boulevard, which wasn't too far from where the school was. So, like I said, police were doing their investigation. They got a couple tips here and there, but nothing that would point to a suspect. The parents were ruled out as suspects because usually the first people that are suspects are the ones that are close to you. They were ruled out as potential suspects. And the thing about this was, like I said at the beginning, when Tracy Ann was 10 months old, she was sent back to Dominica to live with her grandmother because her mother needed time to, earn some money, get a job and stuff like that. And in December of 1974, that's when she was brought back to Canada to be reunited with her mother, who had, went on to get married. So she had a stepfather. His name was Earl. And she also had a little sister by the name of Terry. And 5 months later, and this happened, she was gone. So, was it someone that the family potentially knew? Was it just a random stranger? Why did they beat her before they dumped her? Like, why did they take her all the way to that park, that particular park? Who knows? But if you go on the Toronto Police Cold Case website, Tracy Ann's face there remains at the age that she was unalive. She didn't get to live beyond 5 years old. And this story is it's sad, but have you ever heard about it? If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so, like and share the video, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next one.